Good afternoon, everybody. We are live with Amy with her foundation called Memories of Honor. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me, and welcome to my Franklin-based workroom.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about Memories of Honor and how it got started.
So we are a national 501c3 charity, and we honor our fallen service members and the families that they leave behind. At the end of the day, after all the sympathy cards stop coming, the casseroles stop coming, the families of our fallen servicemen and women are the forgotten casualties of war. They still wake up with that loss every day. So as an organization, our mission is to literally create living, breathing memorials and give and make opportunities for every day to be Memorial Day, so that those families know that their loved one's not forgotten and they're not forgotten.
Mm-hmm. How long has this organization been in existence?
So we were actually born on in September 28th of 2014. It was born on an Ironman course. I was running or doing Ironman Chattanooga. It was the inaugural Ironman down there, and I was running in combat. So on the run portion, I was running in combat boots, wearing a military pack, and it had the photos of 21 fallen service members on the pack. I took up wearing and running combat boots when I signed my then 17-year-old son over to the Marine Corps. It was the proudest, as a military family, it was the proudest day of my life, and it was the hardest day of my life. So from 2011 to 2014, I was using endurance type events, even though I was not an athlete. I was using endurance type events as a way of feeling connected to my son, but also as a source of healing for myself. And one of the moms reached out to me one day. It was one of her sons, or her son was one of the original 14 that was on my pack. And she told me that her son had always wanted to do an Ironman. And so I promised Tara right then and there that even though I just learned how to swim, that, that I was going to do to do an Ironman for Anthony. And after the Ironman, I sent my finisher's medal to his mom, Tara, because it wasn't mine. It was Anthony's. And I had asked the community if anybody would be willing to donate another medal to a friend of mine. Her brother was on my pack. And within 2 hours, I had 21 medals, and for each service member's family, and I was turning medals away. Before I knew it, my email was blowing up, people wanting to race and do different events to honor fallen military. And then the word got out to the Gold Star family community. And what I had been doing just at first selfishly for myself turned into this huge thing. And so we ran as a nonprofit, but not a 501c3 for a year. And then in 2015, we got our 501c3, and we've been God's just been blowing doors open for us left and right.
That's amazing. It's interesting how a small act turns into such a large, much bigger than what you had planned.
Yeah, my old the pastor from my old church used to say, turn your mess into a mission and your pain into a passion. And if you show up, God will show out. And that has been living proof for me as an individual, but for us as an organization as well. We've been featured on major television networks. We team with college sports teams. Our very first team that we teamed up with was Vanderbilt football, and it was on Veterans Day. And we worked with Vanderbilt and the SEC to have the players remove their nameplates. So during that game, all 98 players dressed out in their game day uniforms, but instead of their name, they had the names of fallen service members. And they were also given the bios. So each one of them knew who they were playing for. The the coaching staff had special sweatshirts made. The families were able to go down and carry the flag out on the field. And the coolest part was that the commentary, the gentlemen that were doing the game day commentary, whenever there was game stoppage, instead of talking about Kyle Shermer's pass, they talked about the life of Staff Sergeant Brian Burgess, which Shermer was wearing Burgess on his uniform. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. We create opportunities using athletics, entertainment. We work with the country music industry, and special events to give individuals like you and me an opportunity to honor somebody's sacrifice, but also their life, and to let that family know, who's often feeling alone and isolated and feeling like somebody doesn't care, to let them know that somebody does care. Because with everything we do, there's a give back. There's tangible things that we're sending to the families. It took us about a year, but we finally got those game day jerseys from Vanderbilt, and we were able to ship each one of those families those game day jerseys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's been pretty special.
Tell us about all those things behind you. You've got like a little design studio, so to speak, behind you. I'm like, oh, that looks cute. What is that?
So that first year that we started, I named the nonprofit, or the act of love that I was doing, Medals of Honor, because all of those participants were giving us their finisher's medal in honor and memory of the service member. So for the first year that Medals of Honor was in existence, my husband and I were fully financing it. And I needed a way to slow down the bleeding of our savings account. And I was really missing my son. And I was up in the attic, and I came across a pair of his fatigues from when he was in JROTC. And I thought, wow, maybe I could wear them in my next event. He was tiny in high school, so there was no way they were fitting. And there sat a sewing machine that my mom had given me. And then I remembered that my dad gave me his Army unit patch, and a light bulb kind of went off. And I thought, oh, I'll make a bracelet out of it, so that way I can have a piece of my son, a piece of my dad. And when that light bulb went off, I was like, I wonder if I can get more uniforms, and maybe this is a way that we can help fund the nonprofit. So that first year that Valor Bands was in existence, that was how we were also helping to fund the nonprofit. But since then, I've brought on a business partner, because the nonprofit has grown so much, I couldn't manage both. And my business partner is Army retired Sergeant First Class Joe James. He's a double amputee. He lost both of his legs to an IED, but he also lost his commander in that same vehicle. And Joe's also on our board of directors with the nonprofit. So Joe and I relaunched Valor Bands. And we basically take in donated military uniforms, and we upcycle them into what we call wearable gratitude. So you can actually wear a piece of that service member's uniform, and every Valor Band comes with that service member's story. The service member themselves write it. So for example, like the one that I'm wearing, this is one of the first ones that I made for myself. I can tell you that uniform came from First Lieutenant Blake Hogan, and Blake served in the Marine Corps, and he now runs Bunker Labs, which is an incubator for veteran-owned businesses. So it's a way for you, the wearer, or me, the wearer, to be able to tell that service member's story. And we also get donations where we don't necessarily know the stories. There are stories with them. So we upcycle them into wearable gratitude, and we refashion the jackets. And so that way you may not know the exact story of it, but every little blemish on that uniform or on that bracelet has a story to tell, if we just listen to the whispers of that person's service. So it's been pretty exciting. We even make dog collars now.
Oh, wow. I love
so
that.
yeah. So a portion of the proceeds go back to help fund the nonprofit.
I love that. You said you were just having like a little live your version of QVC last night.
Yeah, just like everybody else, our world has the nonprofit and the social enterprises world has been turned upside down due to the COVID-19 shutdown. So two of our major markets that, because we'll sell online, but for the clothing, we usually only sell at markets so people can try them on. And as far as we know right now, we don't have any markets scheduled. So I used to work in television, and I've sold fitness equipment products on HSN and the old Shop at Home network here in Nashville. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna color my gray hair. I'm gonna get out of my pajamas. try to light as much as I can my workroom as a studio, and let's pivot. Let's try a live pop-up store. And it was fun, and it was great to be able to connect with friends online and new friends that I haven't met yet. So we plan on doing them at least once a month now.
Okay, well, we'll have to give people information about that. You mentioned earlier at the very beginning, you were talking about Memorial Day, and it is the month of May. How's that going to look different this year? I know probably activities or large gatherings are not going to take place. What is that going to look like for you?
Yeah, again, as an organization, we're pivoting. Our schedule for this year was just jam-packed, and especially the month of May. And of course, large gatherings cannot take place. So one of the pivot points that we've made is we've started doing more virtual events. So for like right now, for the month of May, we're doing a social distancing challenge. And whenever you sign up, you get your social distancing bib. So it's a race bib, just like you would get if you went to one of our 5Ks, because our 5K Honor the Fallen did get pushed back until September.
But that's usually at Harlansdale Farm, is that right?
That particular one is at the Grove
in
College Grove.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. And then you get your COVID-19 mask. So we have these really cool, they're actually called neck gaiters. Some people call them buffs. But instead of a finisher's medal, you get one of these, and it says Honor the Fallen on it. So it can be worn like 12 different ways. My husband and I wear them whenever we go in the stores. You can wear them headbands. But the most important piece, the two most important pieces of the social distancing challenge is this guy right here. Try to get it to where. So each and every person gets the name of a fallen service member. So you can honor and remember them. And then on the back of that bib has all the social media tags. So that way, if you're honoring this Marine, it gives their families an opportunity to go online and see who's honoring and remembering their loved one. But along with that, everybody's getting one of these cards, these blank cards. This is the individual's opportunity to write a message directly to the Lance Corporal's family. And if you mail that back to us, that message is going to go directly to the Corporal's family. And along with those, we invite people to send any other tokens of love, gratitude, remembrance that they want. As long as we get it and it'll fit into a bag or a box, we're going to ship it to the families. And then we also have these really cool social distancing challenge shirts that Twine Graphics did for us.
Oh yeah, I love those guys. Those look great.
Yeah. Twine does all of our printing for our events and stuff. So. And we have another virtual event starting on Memorial Day. It's called the Bataan Challenge. And this is another big event that we do not put on, but we participate in. Every year we take approximately 20 surviving family members and veterans to this event in White Sands, New Mexico. It's called the Bataan Memorial Death March. For those that aren't history buffs, the Bataan Death March actually happened in 1942. It was the largest loss of POW life in World War II. And these poor men were marched over 60 miles in the Philippines, a lot of them falling to their death. And that event, which was supposed to happen in March, was canceled 2 days before the event. And
Oh, wow.
so there was 10,000 of us really, kind of bummed and that wasn't happening. So we're doing an interactive Baton challenge where by downloading this app onto your smartphone, you can go out and you can walk a little bit each day. You can run, whatever you want to do. And that app tracks you. So you can actually see where you are in the Philippines following the steps of the Bataan survivors and the Bataan Death March POWs. And that one's against kicking off on Memorial Day. And then the other thing that we have going on Memorial Day is we have country music artists from the Nashville area that are performing live for us. So they're going to, on our website and on our social media, we'll have a schedule of the artist. And each one of those artists are going to play at a time of their choosing. So we'll have that list of times. For example, Glenn Templeton is playing, I believe, at 3 o'clock. His light, Glenn is also, and all the other artists are going to be given the names and bios of our fallen men and women to honor. And then those families are going to know who's honoring their loved one and can tune in.
Wow. That's such an incredible way. I can see how you, as you mentioned just at the beginning, keep those memories alive with these people who've served our country. Tell everybody where they can find more information about the clothing and these virtual events coming up.
Yeah, so the nonprofit website is memoriesofhonor.org. memoriesofhonor.org. And for the social enterprise, the website is wearablegratitude.com. None of the clothing is online yet, just because we did our sale last night, but all of the Valor bands, which are the bracelets, and the dog collars are all on there. And we're hoping that everybody will join us, not only on just Memorial Day, but 365 days a year in coming to us for opportunities to honor the memories of our fallen service members. I may have said it earlier, but the families of our fallen have already experienced their worst nightmare. Now their greatest fear is that their loved one's going to be forgotten. And as a parent, that is a thought that I can't even wrap my brain around. The closest, my son's still active duty. He's still with us, but every single day we're losing upwards of 22 veterans in active duty a day to suicide. So we're also losing them to training accidents. For example, before my son-in-law went on deployment, I believe there were 4 training accident deaths on his pre-deployment training. So even though it's not in the news, every day we're losing service members. So that's why Memories of Honor, we honor all loss of life. So we honor killed in action, missing in action, training accidents, self-infliction, medical issues directly related to service. And we don't put a stop date on loss. So we have people in our database that were put there by their loved ones going back to World War II. We have Vietnam, and we have every conflict there since, because pain doesn't know any end, and it doesn't know loss, and we cannot take that pain from those families. But we can do everything within our powers to make sure that they know that they're not alone.
Yeah. Wow. That's so much great information. I think it all gives us time to reflect on all those people serving our country. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And we will see you again soon.
Thank you, Donna. Appreciate it.